Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. This is your practice test for our unit on graphing. We are on campus, so if there is a loud bell, I apologize in advance. Also, I am human, so if I make a mistake, just let me know where the mistake occurs, so that way we both can learn from my mistake. All right, let's get started. We are on part 2, so we're going to begin with number 13. Again, I am not doing all of the questions. I'm only picking and choosing which ones I think will help you most. The rest of the worksheet you are responsible to complete. All right, so we are on number 13. So I would like to, first of all, start off by reading the directions. Always start by reading the directions so you have an idea of what is expected of you. Don't just jump into doing a question or a problem without reading the directions. So sketch the graph of each line. So we need to graph the line. And so the first thing I notice is that these are in y equals mx plus b form, which is also known as slope-intercept form. And the reason we call it slope-intercept is because the number in front of x is your slope. The number behind x with the sign is your y-intercept. Now remember that the y-intercept is a point, so it's 0, b or 0, number. And so that's all you really need in order to graph. So we're going to do that. So the number in front of x is -3/4. That is our slope. The number behind x with the sign is -2. That is our y-intercept. Again, that is 0, number, or in this case, 0, -2. So you want to start off with this. So this is your step 1. Slope is step 2. So step number 1 is you find your -2 on your y-intercept. There it is. Put a point on there. Step number 2 is to use your slope. So for example, I'm going to write it down here. My slope is -3/4. I can rewrite this as -3/4, or I can rewrite it as 3/4. Now, as long as on each slope I have one negative, my slope is still negative overall, and therefore I can move that negative as needed in my slope. Okay, so I'm going to choose to do this one here. For no particular reason, I can absolutely choose this one, but I'm going to choose this one just because I want to. Okay, so then this one is positive, so that means I go up. This is negative, that means I go left. So now I'm here, so I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going over to the left, 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to put a point there. Take your ruler, line it up. And sketch a line. Now you want your line to be pretty decent in size. You don't want to give me just a little tiny line. Make sure it goes all the way through the little coordinate system that they gave you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to number 16. Okay, number 16 is very similar to number, which one was it? Number 9. So I'm looking at number 9. It's going to be very similar. So remember, our format is y equals mx plus b. Now, because I don't have an x, this section right here is 0. So that means my y-intercept is my number, and my slope is 0. So here, that means this right here is 0, 5. So where's 5 on my intercept? There it is. And then my slope is 0. So you have to think about vertical versus horizontal. And again, imagine your car falling off a cliff, or imagine your car being on a horizontal road. Again, if it's falling off a cliff, it is undefined because people die. And then if it's just on a horizontal road without any acceleration, the speed it'd be going at would be 0. So therefore, since we know the slope is 0 because we don't have an x, it has to be a horizontal line. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to save numbers 14, 15, 16 we did together. And now we're going to move on to number 17. Now, number 17 we actually did not do in class, so I want to take a few moments and I'll do 2 questions with you or 2 problems with you so you understand how it works. Now, We discussed graphing a line using slope and y-intercept. There is another method that you can use to graph a line, and that is using your x and y-intercepts together. So for an x-intercept, that means we have a number, comma, 0. For y-intercept, we have a 0, comma, number for our point. Okay. So for an x-intercept, that means it's going to be on our x-axis. And then for our y-intercept, that means it's going to be on our y-axis. So y-intercept, let's do x-intercept first. So our x-intercept is here. Y-intercept is going to be here. And where they intersect is our origin is 0, in case you get like a y-intercept, which is 0, or an x-intercept, which is 0. Okay. All right, let's do this. X-intercept, we do 0, comma, let me take that back. That is wrong. We do number, comma, 0. So what number do we have? We take that number, we put it in the x spot. Why? Because it's the x-intercept. So I have 5, comma, 0. Then my secondary is my y-intercept. So I take our number, put it in the y spot. So I have 0, comma, 3. Once I have these 2 points, you're going to graph them. So I'm going to have 5 on the x. Here it is. I have 3 on the y. There it is. And you don't need slope. All you need is 2 points to make a line. So we have 2 points. One of them is the x-intercept. The other one is the y-intercept. And we have enough to graph a line. Try this again. Again, x-intercept is number, comma, 0. Y-intercept is 0, comma, number. So for my x-intercept, we take our number, put it in the x spot. For our y-intercept, we take our number, put it in the y spot. So I have 4, comma, 0 and 0, comma, 1. Now I'm going to take those 2 points, I'm going to graph them. So this is on my x, I have 4. So on my x, I have 4. And on my y, I have 1. On my y, I have 1. How many points does it take to make a line? 2. It takes 2 points to make a line. Here they are. They're my 2 points. Connect them. Draw a decent line. Put arrows on it. You must have arrows, and you have a line. I'm going to leave number 19 and 20 for you to do on your own. We're going to move on to number 21. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line. Slope-intercept form. This is your key word. It is y equals mx plus b. So that means we need to identify our slope, and we need to identify the y-intercept. Okay, the easiest way to do that is if you take your finger, or in this case, I'm going to use a highlighter, and I'm just going to highlight or run my finger down the y-axis. And so see where it hits the y-intercept. There it is, where it hits the y-axis. So that will be your y-intercept. So then what is it? It is at, what number is this? I already covered it up with my point, but I believe that was 2. So that means our b value is 2. So step number 1, b is 2. Step number 2, we want our slope. This is a little bit difficult because you have to find what it's called your quote-unquote pretty point. So pretty point is where it is a perfect point on the grid. So if we take our grid, here's our grid. Do you see that? It's like taking it here. And the pretty point is the intersection of a grid point. So you have a point here, right where the 2 intersect. Now, what's not a pretty point is if you have, like, let's say a grid piece here and it's like a little bit off. Your line is a little bit off, or your line is like on top, or your line is this right here. You want your pretty point to be directly on the intersection, okay? So I'm going to scan this and I'm going to look for a pretty point. So for example, do you see how this is not on the intersection? So I can't use any of these, can't use any. This one is really close, but if you look really closely, I'm going to zoom in so you can show you. See how there's a small tiny gap? That means it's not perfectly on the intersection of the grid, so we can't use it. So we're going to continue looking down, down. The only one that comes close would be this point right here. And it's okay that it's an arrow. It's just telling you that the line will continue beyond what you see in the image. Okay, so now we have to find our slope. Pick the point. I usually start with the one that's lower. You're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps up. Then you're going to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. And again, remember up, down. You can't see what I'm writing. Let me zoom out. So up, down, left, right. Up is positive, down is negative, left is negative, right is positive. Okay, so if we go here, we go up 4, so up is positive. We go to the right 5, right is also positive. So then that's all we have. So step number 3 is writing it, y equals mx plus b. M we know, b we know. So y equals m is our slope, so 4/5 x. b is 2, so we do plus 2. And that's it. That's how you're going to write it. I'm going to leave number 22 for you to do on your own. Let's take a look at the back. I'm going to leave number 23 and 24 for you to do on your own. Let's look at number 25. Number 25, let's read the directions together. It says write the slope-intercept form. Keyword, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to write what that is. Y equals mx plus b of the equation of each given line given the slope and y-intercept. So here it is. We know that m is our slope. We know that plus b is our y-intercept. So it's asking us to write a line, and they give us all of the information that we need. So since we know that slope is 1, we're going to replace that m with -1. And then we know y-intercept is 2, so we're going to replace that plus b with 2. So we have y equals -1, x plus 2. And again, if you want to, you can keep it like this. In Integrated Math 1, you would be required to simplify that because 1 times anything is anything, but we have that negative. So usually you'll see this as -x plus 2. All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave 26, 27, and 28 for you to complete. This finishes our practice or pre-test for the unit on graphing, slope-intercept form. Again, if you saw a mistake, please let me know where that occurred so I can fix it and we can learn from my mistake. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.